Greetings, YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about a design flaw more than a specific tool. This is a flashlight I picked up at a estate sale for $1. It says CMC Volunteers, a work of heart, and for those that don't know it, that stands for the Catholic Medical Center, a hospital in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I picked it up, and it was I'm like, hey, it's a flashlight. It works. Doesn't have bad color. It's kind of weird looking. Let's go figure out why. So I grabbed it because I had a handful of stuff in there, and I brought it home. It's decent size, kind of pen-like kind of thing. A little bit on the thick side, but not too bad. It's got a nice little pocket clip in here, which is strong enough, but not too strong. And it's got this here, and I'm like, at first glance, I'm like, why is that shaped like that? Why is that? And it's got, well, it's got bevels. Why does it have bevels? Then, aha! Things start to make sense. If you take this and you go, and you've got mini bits. Okay, so mini bits, the standard bits, you know, flatheads and Phillips heads, and you just take the bit and you put the bit in here, and you put the cap back on. Though you can activate the button, the light with it off. It's just a heck of a lot easier. And now, when you're doing something, you can see what you're doing, which is really quite convenient. And you get 6 bits, and they are not the standard 1/4-inch bits. These are smaller bits. I have seen these before, this size. I didn't measure this, but I know that I think there are places out there you could get additional bits if you really want it. It's got a magnet in there, so the bit stays in place, which is a nice touch, because this itself is plastic, and that therein lies the problem, and what I consider to be a design flaw. This, which lets light through and makes the flashlight component of this tool very useful, is plastic, which means your driver bit is encased in plastic, which means you can't put a lot of torque on this. Now, if you're using this for like electronics, that may not be an issue. Particularly, these bits aren't really all that large. The smallest one, in fact, may be small enough you could actually use it for a pair of glasses. I'm not positive. Maybe you can get away with that, maybe you can't. Let me see, how big is that? Yeah, you might be able to use that for a pair of glasses. It's pretty small. In that regard, this would be ideal because it gives you the light right where you want it, and when you're trying to make an adjustment on a pair of glasses or replace like a nose piece, like, for example, you're trying to replace a nose piece on something that has screws, it can be difficult. This one doesn't have screws. This one just has nose pieces that snap into an oval. But yeah, my work glasses do in fact have that kind of a screw, and I've had to replace the nose pieces, both because I wanted to improve the ones over the ones that came with it, but also because one wore out and I had to put a new one on. So that might work for that, and I'm going to keep it around. I'm actually going to give that a shot next time I have to actually change a nose piece, see how well this does work, because when you are doing something up close and personal like that, having a light at that point is kind of nice. It really is, because sometimes, no matter how good your lighting is, it makes it hard when you're dealing with tiny little screws, particularly, say, if you're having to like hold the screw with a pair of tweezers or something while you're trying to get that in there to get to bite in that hole. So yeah, this kind of tool could be very useful for small fasteners, but for anything bigger than that, you're definitely going to want to not do that, because this is not going to provide you with much strength at all. Now, I have no idea if the person that owned this ever used it for anything. Again, I bought it at an estate sale, which often means the person that owned this is dead now, or at least been put away into some kind of a care facility. But I do like to go through their tools and find useful things, because occasionally I find some really cool stuff that's out of date. You just don't find it anymore, and it's kind of neat. But this right here is not all that out of date. But it is, in my book, a design flaw. So I've seen this kind of thing before, and I've questioned it, because I actually have a tool where the bits are 1/4-inch, the standard 1/4-inch bits, and it's still a plastic holder, and that's just a no-no. Because when you start getting into larger bits, you're definitely going to be in a position where you may be putting torque on something, and you don't want it to strip. Now, the disadvantage of this design is that you can't put pressure on it from the end. So you can't do that. You can't do this with this tool because there's a button here that turns the light on. And not only do you not want to do that, turn your light off, but you could also potentially damage the thing because it is not really designed for that kind of a situation. So let's hope that whatever fastener you are attempting to remove is not going to be overly sticky. All right, so anybody else see something like this out there? Have you ever any experience using this kind of a bit? Do you know who makes this? Because this is to me, this is just a promotional thing. I don't know. It's got no maker's mark on it or anything. I haven't even looked at how to get the battery out because I'm probably going to use this like once or twice and see how it works. And if I don't like it, I'll just donate it to somebody else. But yeah, it's a cute little gadget. It just has, in my opinion, what I consider to be a major design flaw.